if you're in a luxury building or a premium building, you definitely don't want your cars to go up by a car lift. Suppose you have an EV car. How do you fix your EV charging point if your so-called spot is the third one in the stack? A puzzle car park, because of its algorithm, can be highly efficient and accommodate in a smaller space a larger number of cars. I always believe car parking is an integral part of a building design today, because for us the car ownership is very high, principally because the public transport system in our cities is still suboptimal. So it is a complete mayhem out there, truth be told. We are just waiting for things to boil over before we really start taking action. But that's not the best way. Sometimes prevention is better than cure. You don't have to wait for it to break down.
Welcome back to another episode of PropSutra with Balaji Rao. PropSutra is presented to you by Prop News Time. An often overlooked aspect of any complex is parking. Today, you hear of many terms. There's puzzle parking, stack parking, one behind the other. It can get confusing. If you're starting out and you want to make sense of what parking you should select, this episode is for you. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
So this week I'd like to talk to you about parking. I'd like to start with just asking you, how's parking defined in India?
Well, parking is a space where you will give that area for putting your car or vehicle or a two-wheeler. And it usually is defined as either a fixed place or sometimes it can be an open sort of a place where members can share the car parking. In today's world, it is more or less getting fixed and allotted with a flat.
Yes.
Okay? Though technically open car parking is not allowed to be actually sold, but if you can fix a car park with a flat and you allot the same to the flat buyer, then he has a right on that spot because it has come to him with the flat.
Right.
So whether it's for a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, what sort of a spot he has taken, that is really the parking area designated with that property.
What are the different types of parking that one finds usually in residential buildings?
Well, parking can go in various directions and dimensions, if you can see so. Initially, we used to look at parking as open and covered.
Right.
That was the first
Yes.
sort of a thing, where the covered car parking could come with garage doors or it could be just between the stills. And the open car parking was open to sky.
Yes.
Those were the style, or that was the original sort of a car parking plan, which used to be made with residential buildings. And this is something which is about 40, 45, 50 years old. And later on, as the buildings grew vertically and they started becoming complexes, then the question of just the open car park and stilt car park, as we know, was becoming a little bit of a constraint to provide car parking. So first casualty was the closed car parks with garage doors.
Yes.
That disappeared first. Then the question of stilt car parking came, as well as open car parking was there. But that too has disappeared because they cannot give you the parkings necessary for all the residents.
Right.
Because the density of cars has gone up by exponentially, especially over the last 20, 25 years.
Right.
You see it has really climbed.
Yes.
So with that car ownership and vehicle ownership going up so steeply, and you needing a place to garage your car or to park your car or vehicle, it is becoming very difficult not to create designated spaces for parking.
Right.
Okay? So the designated spaces for parking then became basement car parks,
Yes.
where you went down. Then came the podium car parks, where you went higher, up above the ground.
Yes.
So these are covered car parks, but they are designated only for parking.
Right.
And the habitable floors would rise above these sort of parking floors. So this was the second thing which became, or is currently also, pretty much in fashion.
Right. Are there any rules that govern parking on a central level?
See, government parking means there is a certain ratio you need to have.
Yes.
Usually for around 1,000 square feet of built up or whatever it is, we have a car parking space. So there is a certain ratio which the municipal corporation or the municipality will demand from the builder before they sanction his plans as to how much parking he has created. And there's a certain element, 5% of your parking which you have created has to be also kept for visitors. So there are certain rules and regulations, and most of the building which we feel which are RERA registered and have approved plans would have sufficient car parks to take care of it.
Okay.
So there are rules, but what when it comes to parking, what one has to really see is how easy is it to access the parking.
Right.
Correct. So suppose you have a car park that is accessible through a ramp. A ramp is a driveway which goes up to the podium or goes down to the basement.
Yes.
That's far more easier to navigate.
Right.
Correct. But suppose you have a car parking in the basement and in the podium, which you access only through a car lift. Now, that becomes necessary when your setbacks are not there or when it's a very tight plot and you can naturally then not have a ramp. So you create a car lift specifically
Yes.
to take the cars up and down to these parking floors.
Right.
And from there again, you drive and park the car. It's technically it is a good idea, but practically it becomes very difficult because it's not always easy to navigate cars into lifts. Sometimes it gets blocked. Sometimes the lifts don't work. They break down. Sometimes people who don't need the car lift will say, why are we paying so much for it? Okay.
Right.
And if you see any car lift, it's a very tight fit for a car.
Yes.
So if you actually get stuck in a car lift, it's worse than getting stuck in a passenger lift because you can't move, you can't get out of the car easily.
Right.
Your doors don't open. So basically, at that sort of a situation, it is claustrophobic. It is not a very nice way to have your car parking.
Right.
So if you're in a luxury building or a premium building, you definitely don't want your cars to go up by a car lift. That is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is stack parking.
Right.
See, whether you are in the basement, whether you are in the podium, or whether it's an open car park, the new concept is stack parking.
Yes.
And they're becoming, it used to be 2, now they're 3, sometimes 4, one on top of the other. That again is a tricky one because you have to keep moving your cars from below if you want to bring the car from the top down.
Right.
Correct? So there's always an issue of easy ingress and egress, what we call, going in and getting out. It's always going to be difficult if you have stack parking again.
Right.
And especially in a place like Mumbai or other places of India, where you have a dust factor and your cars really need to be cleaned every day practically, how does your car cleaner climb up?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who takes the bottom cars out and who brings the cars from the top down?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is an issue. Or suppose you have an EV car. How do you fix your EV charging point if your so-called spot is the third one in the stack?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all these are practical issues which people sometimes forget to look at when they buy premium or luxury flats.
Right.
So a good premium or a luxury building will have a lot of support with ramps, with good, easy access to parking. How you do it, is it one behind the other is much better than stack, And so I have a feeling most people forget about this, especially builders in large projects will tell you, buy the flat, we haven't allotted the parking,
Right.
and we will be allotting to you 2 car parks for sure.
Yes.
But you don't know where the 2 car parks will be, whether it is one on top of the other, on which floor it is going to be. So these are issues that are sometimes not addressed upfront.
Right. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the parking that now is offered in residential complexes. As complexes have gotten bigger, builders have become innovative in the kind of parking they offer. So originally we'd see, like you said, garage parking, regular basement parking. Now we have a lot of new concepts like semi-automated parking, there's stack parking. can you tell us about what somebody as a home buyer might not be aware of when it comes to semi-automated parking?
See, whatever it is, whether it's semi-automated, fully automated, whether it is stacked, you have to figure out if you were driving the car or the vehicle, how easy is it for you to get in and get out?
Right.
Okay? Don't just leave it for your driver or chauffeur.
Yes.
So if you look at it from that point of view, you will know whether you need a ramp or whether you want to use a lift.
Right.
Okay? Then you have to also figure out from the point of view of cleaning your car and maintaining your car, how easy is to reach it.
Right.
Okay? So you will figure out if it is on a stack parking and very high up, there's always a risk that you can't reach the car so easily. If especially you need the car in the middle of the night for an emergency, for example.
Right.
The other factor to be considered are like how easy, because this is a very new thing which has come about because of EVs, electric vehicles.
Yes.
How easy it is to put charging points.
Correct.
Because usually you would like to charge it overnight
Absolutely.
with a regular charger.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do quick charging all the time.
Correct.
So if that overnight charging point cannot be reached there for whatever reason, then again you have a bit of a problem.
Right.
Okay. Then there's always a risk of car parking as because it's mechanized and semi-automated or automated. Sometimes they fail to work.
Right.
They can stop working. Okay. There was a very prestigious commercial building in BKC, without naming it, where they have a puzzle car parking in the basement, which it didn't work. So people couldn't go home in their cars that evening because it just stopped.
Right.
Till it got fixed. So there's always a risk of that. Sometimes there are these dubious players who erect stack parking.
Right.
And they try to tell you it's safe to be having 3 cars also. If it is open to sky, it's very easy to put 3 car parks and 4 car parks. But you should see stability. There have been instances where these have collapsed.
Right.
And you'll be lucky if nobody was there. And if somebody was there, he would be very seriously injured. So all this sort of what I would call innovative parking should be avoided, especially if you're paying top draw money for your residential unit.
All the more if it's a luxury project.
Yes, because most people will cover that up. Because when you see the luxury building, especially in inbuilt areas, like you can take a Bandra or a Parel or whatever it is, some of these buildings you will see, they will have all sorts of car lifts and everything.
Right.
And they will make it look as if it's so cool.
Yeah.
As if it's very convenient. It's not.
Yes.
And if you really try it, you'll see it is not.
Right.
Because we really don't have great service in the night or round the clock, like a concierge or a valet or a chauffeur service. Very few buildings have it.
Right.
Okay. So it's not very easy to get your car out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you do need it in an emergency, or if you come late in the night from a party, for instance, you don't know where to park your car. You definitely don't want to go right outside and park your car.
Right.
Yeah. So these are actual practical problems which are faced. So I always believe car parking is an integral part of a building design today.
Right.
Okay. So because for us, the car ownership is very high.
Yes.
Principally because the public transport system in our cities is still suboptimal.
Yes.
We are getting there with the infrastructure thrust we have, but it is still suboptimal. So most people prefer to use their own two-wheeler or four-wheelers to get to their place of work or wherever they're going. So if you have to have a vehicle with your house, it becomes very important as to how the vehicle is housed.
Understand.
Okay. And these vehicles are expensive. These vehicles are no more cheap that you can say that, it doesn't matter, because some of them are extremely expensive and can cost as much as an apartment itself.
Yes.
So when you are using such vehicles, why would you want those fancy luxury cars of yours to disappear into a puzzle car park or go up in a car lift?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I'm buying a house, often, sometimes builders will ask you to pay a premium if you want a parking slot closer to your apartment, especially in large complexes. How should I approach negotiation when it comes to this?
I would feel more than being close to your house. I mean, that's because everybody wants their car park below their building.
Yes.
It need not be.
Okay.
It's good for you to walk a little in the basement. I don't see there's going to be any major problem if you have to walk 100 meters in the basement to get your car. But what is important that it is not in some stack or puzzle or some sort of that car park. As I said, the best one would expect or the least the developer can do for me is at least to have, even if he's giving me two car parks, one behind the other.
Okay.
Then I can have charging points, I can clean my car, and it is within my realm to take out the top first front car and then exit out with the second car.
Right.
That's the least he can do.
Right.
But putting one top of the other, and secondly, sometimes in most of these buildings of game, it's not that everybody owns that stack.
Correct.
So the guy on the lowest belongs to one, and the guy above him belongs to another. So, you have to have a coordination, and you have to leave your keys otherwise with the watchman to be able to take it out when he wants to go. These give rise to its own set of problems.
Can it help raise the value of my apartment if I'm selling it along with the apartment?
Of course, because naturally it'll add to the resale value if you have better car parks that are easily, you can manage to drive them in and drive them out, or it can be managed to be cleaned very easily. So naturally you'll have a better resale value than somebody who says, look, I have 3 car parks and a puzzle car park.
Right. Okay. We've spoken about residential parking. Now I'd like to ask you, how should a commercial space approach parking?
See, in commercial spaces also, the usual ratio is 1:1,000 square feet of built-up area again. But generally, people will demand even more.
Yes.
In large IT campuses and complexes, they demand space for bus parking because quite a bit of the staff travel by bus.
Okay.
So you can have different requirements in commercial spaces. But in commercial spaces, you might be able to get away with puzzle parking.
Okay.
Because in this space, whoever comes is not expecting somebody to take out the car during the office hours or, go for cleaning it or go for charging it.
Yes.
It can happen.
Yeah.
But it generally doesn't happen 80% of the time.
Right.
So there, if you go for a puzzle car park, it's much more better in a commercial one.
Right.
Understand? Like if suppose you have a tight downtown mall.
Yes.
It can have easily a puzzle car park because people who come, they will want as many cars parked, and after 2 hours, he wants his car back. So that's easier to be done. You understand?
Yes.
So I would always feel in commercial, you have far more flexibility rather than in residential.
In Mumbai and Bangalore, you read a lot about this public parking problem, especially in these CBD areas, central business districts. Why do you think that is? Is that poor planning?
It is poor urban planning because you see, the problem is when your car density, vehicular density is very high.
Yes.
And the length of your roads is not much.
Yes.
People start parking their cars outside.
Right.
Okay. So there is a proposal, for example, in Bombay, like in Singapore and all that, where they want to regulate your car ownership based on the number of parking spaces you actually own.
Right.
Which is a very good idea.
Yes.
Excellent idea, in fact. But I have also a better idea for the government.
Yeah.
Like say in a place like Mumbai in the suburbs, you almost have 2 to 3 lakh autos.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
where do they park?
Good question. Yeah.
You understand? They're all parking on the roads.
Yes.
So if at 2 o'clock you ever go around Bombay, you will see where these areas where the auto drivers reside is packed with autos.
Right. Yes.
So that's wrong. Similarly for two-wheelers.
Yeah.
So it's not just cars and two-wheelers privately owned. It's also for the public sort of autos, cabs, taxis, your buses. They're all parked outside.
Yes. Yeah.
You understand? Because our operators feel they don't have to really abide by any rules and there's nobody actually checking and regulating them.
Right.
Because if you're checking, you will ask him, where's your parking space?
Yes.
And he doesn't even pay.
Yeah.
Officially at least, for the parking he is enjoying on the public roads.
Right.
So every morning the cleaner will come, the washer will come, the guy will start washing the thing. It's a racket they make. It's all on the public roads.
Right.
So these sort of things, I feel both private as well as public, you need to figure out what are the rules and regulations.
Right.
But again, when you look at India is a country, there are a lot of laws. So we say there is no problem about laws. It's not that we don't have the laws. We have the problem with the order. We have the problem with the implementation of the laws.
Right.
So are there rules and regulations about parking on the road? Yes, there are. But who is implementing them? And if somebody is not implementing them, who is overseeing that? And this creates its own mess. It's like if you ask someone, how does unauthorized slums come about? Technically, if it is public property,
Yes.
because most of the slums are on public property, government property, and few on private property. How do they come about? Who was supposed to guard it?
Right.
Who was supposed to get them vacated? So this is a sort of a connivance between all sorts of regulatory bodies and authorities for whatever reason to allow such things to happen and start simmering.
Right.
And then you will have some, union of the drivers, union of these operators, bus operators, union of tankers. So they'll all come and protest. It's just like what's happening on our streets with hawkers, for example.
Right.
You can't park most of the time because the hawkers have taken over,
Yes.
And so there's a union.
Right.
So the question is, every sort of a forum and we debate over it, they say hawkers have rights. Okay. So I say, yes, hawkers have rights, but there are 60,000 to a lakh hawkers. Okay.
Yes.
So if in this city we have 25 million people, that is 250 lakhs, they have any rights?
No, they do. Yeah.
So you're saying just because that 1 lakh hawkers can hold you to ransom, we should suffer in silence. Okay. Similarly, public transport operators, everybody thinks once he has formed a union or he has an association and there is some sort of a coverage from the leaders. So you tend to believe that you can flout the routes.
Right.
So there's mayhem all around. There's chaos all around. So if you have to have a traffic order, you have to start from the very bottom rung. Everybody should follow. So whether I am on a two-wheeler or I have a push cart or I have a Rolls Royce, everybody should be abiding by those rules. Where he should park, what rules he should follow.
Right.
So it's not just meant for only the people who own the cars or the two-wheelers. It's meant for everyone.
Could more public parking facilities be the solution?
It should, because if you have, like at one time there was a proposal to have car parks below public parks, gardens, and there was a big uproar about it. I felt it was a good idea because you can have a garden on top and you can have a sort. So all the autos and taxis and cabs and Ubers and all of them can go, and you can ensure that they have connectivity that if somebody wants, they can call them.
Right.
You understand? It need not be that they have to be on surface all the time.
Yes.
Or you can have multi-storied car parks. In fact, in Mumbai, in BMC, had got a lot of public car parking done by builders, and they gave them extra FSI for it.
Right.
But unfortunately, these car parks are not being maintained well, because they haven't given it maybe to the right operators.
Right.
So it should be maintained well. People should be encouraged and incentivized to use it. Mm-hmm. And we are loath to park a car, say, down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you go to a place like London or even New York, downtown, you don't find car parking below your building. Not at all. You can be having the most expensive condo in New York, Manhattan, but you don't have a car park. Your car parking might be at the corner of the block. And people go and get their cars from there. You understand?
But the weather is better, right?
It's a weather. The weather is better or not, that cannot be an excuse that you will bring, you'll park my car right in front of the road.
Yes.
And we don't even, nowadays, you're forgetting that we completely block all sorts of fire hydrants and gutters and everything.
Right.
So it is a complete mayhem out there, truth be told, And I feel we are just waiting for things to boil over before we really start taking action. But that's not the best way. Sometimes prevention is better than cure. You don't have to wait for it to break down.
So much more regulation, self-regulation, and even
It
the
need not be self-regulation because nobody self-regulates. You understand?
yes,
There has to be a carrot and stick policy.
Yeah.
You have to have hefty fines and penalties.
right,
Okay. But all I am saying is it should apply to everyone,
understood. Not
right?
just
Fully.
private.
And they should be pulled up if they are flouting it.
Understood. You often find some housing societies refrain from allotting parking or allowing tenants to use parking slots. Why do you think that is?
See, it depends on what the reason behind it is. See, frankly, in older buildings
Yes.
where parking was not given to everyone, it was only a few covered car parks were sold, and the other open car parking was handed over to the society for allotment to its members. So immediately they would all follow a rule that the priority would be given to the owner resident rather than a tenant resident.
Right.
So you would not get your car park because if you are a tenant, you would be far behind in priority as compared to an owner resident.
Right.
That was the reason. But nowadays, if I don't see any society doing that, if your landlord owns a car park, they can't take it away from him, no?
Yes.
Because it's allotted and it comes with the flat.
Yes.
So you will be able to enjoy what your landlord has. So it's a matter of figuring out when you are taking something on leave and license or lease or rent as to what sort of parking facilities does the landlord have. And if it is something that is definitive,
Right.
then you will be able to enjoy it for sure. A society can't say you can't give that parking,
Understood.
you know. But if he doesn't have a definitive car park and it was at the allotment of the society from the common pool of car parks, then it is very likely the society might have a rule. The priority should be given to owner inhabitants rather than the tenant inhabitants.
Okay. My last question for this session is to ask you, how do you see technology shaping the way we park?
See, technology has come up with various solutions for it. There are quite a few apps now which tell you where you can find your parking, and they are trying to rope in all the public car parking and everything, or even buildings which can give parking during the daytime when their residents have gone off with their cars, and they're trying to pool them and allot it once you sign into the app and figure it out. So technology, there are two types. One is to match the demand and supply of car parking,
Right.
especially in busy and downtown areas.
Yeah.
The other way technology has come up in car parking is what we are calling the puzzle car park or whatever it is, which is a completely fully automated car park, which, as I said, is very useful in commercial buildings.
Right.
It is very useful in malls because in this place you don't need to keep on taking your car in and out or something.
Right.
You understand? And you don't need to charge your car inside or you don't need to clean your car inside. So in these places, I feel the fully automated car park is a boon.
Understood.
So technology has helped in both this, in the mechanized side of things, as well as in these new tech apps, prop tech apps, which match demand and supply of parking.
All right. That's a wrap for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do share your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for regular notifications. Until next time, thank you so much.